Hello. If the host is on, can you hear me? You know, you don't have to look at your notes. You can just look at the slides.
That's what I mean. Because I'm screen sharing, but they can see us.
Yeah. Well, if you want to, we put on the video. You can start video, and then they can see you.
Yeah, do that right now.
Yeah, let's do that. Right, Daddy, start video. Like that?
No, now the video's off. You're
well, then
sharing.
you do it.
You're
Here,
screen
you do it.
sharing.
Well, we need to screen share, don't we?
Yeah, but you can.
Well, you know Zoom better than I.
Hi, Gail. This is Naomi. How you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Good.
We've got one more coming who's just finishing up school at 2:55.
How was the webinar you just came from?
We didn't do a webinar. I was in school all day today. No. Oh shoot! No. How do I go back?
What? To what? Oh, don't click on the video.
I was trying to see if we were muted or not.
It's up top.
I know where it is. I was trying to move the thing.
Oh, good.
Oh, ask now.
Can you see our screen?
Or hear us?
Or hear us?
Go ahead. You work it, Daddy.
I mean, it says we're.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, I don't think I can hear.
Yes, it looks perfect.
Oh, drop down. Did she not click connect with audio?
Oh, I did.
Same
Click
system.
audio system. This is a sound check. Can you hear the speaker, Megan Kane? Megan and Matthew?
I guess not.
Yeah, perfect. You. No, I think we are good.
Try and test.
And have a good session.
Hello, hello,
It's
hello.
one of those words.
Hello, this is a sound check for Megan and Matthew Kane. Can someone please confirm that you can hear?
I can hear.
Oh,
Thank
perfect.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. All right, so he sits here. You can see him.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, cool. We'll get started in about 10 minutes.
Hi, Jamie. This is Naomi. How you doing? No, I can't hear it. Oh, wait. I think it's on my side. Okay, try saying something now. Not yet. Can you say something else?
Hi, Naomi. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. Not sure what was going on there. That was a little strange.
It was probably me.
As long as we're up and running, that's okay.
Yes. Yes. How's things going?
Things are going well. How about you?
Things are going good. Are you missing Temple?
Somewhat. I don't miss the commute, so
That's true.
I'm only like 12 minutes away from my job now, so I can't complain at all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, me too. So I can't complain. Sounds good. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, no problem. No problem. So there's a lot of good content going on today.
Yeah, it turned out to be pretty good. We should get together and do something.
I'm not
I
going
know.
anywhere. I'm hanging around here.
Sounds good. I mean, we should collaborate with assistive technology for Jersey somehow, with colleges, get higher ed more involved.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We were doing some things before, and yeah, it's an ever developing field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you involved with NJ Ahead?
I'm on their listserv.
Hmm?
I am on their listserv.
Okay.
So I mean, I do send stuff out to them, but not really involved. But yeah.
It's a good way to try to get involved with the higher ed institutions, because they are meeting actually once a month now. They're doing a lot more remote meetings.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah. Yeah, because we need to be reaching out to higher ed a lot more than we do. And it looks about that time.
I want to make sure I set my timer because I'm famous for looking past things.
That's okay. You're the last section, so you could go longer. No one's trying to get into the room anymore.
Oh, actually, I just got a text from someone that says that your mic is live in the session, so we're being broadcasted. Hi, everybody. I don't know what session that is.
Our section, but that's okay. We're not saying much. Yes, you are. Yes.
Naomi, can you see the captions coming up on the screen as well?
Yes. Yes. The captions look great. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the captions look really good.
Okay, good.
Why don't you do another sound check?
Hi, can you guys hear us? Just unmute and say yes. We just want to make sure our sound is working.
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. Oh, and can you see our screen, the truth about assistive technology? Or do you
Yep.
see our faces right now?
Nope. We got the screen, the truth about assistive technology, and your face is teeny tiny on top.
Awesome, thank you guys.
So guys, it's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll kind of come over here when there's like 10 minutes left, just so you know.
Okay. Do we just start, or do they introduce, or what's the?
You have 2 more minutes, so they're probably waiting for people to come on. Or you could say he's waiting for comments. You know, like you use it. You know, give it a second, and then it's on. You guys can start. But I'll be your time check.
Okay, thank you.
But even if I come over, you still have 10 minutes. So you still have quite a bit of time to go through. You just talk slowly, don't rush.
From PT? 5:30 probably.
Okay, yeah, I'll probably be done with my paper thing by then, but not, you know, you could use it.
Okay.
I'm using a really good newspaper, but I put it inside the newspaper, so it looks like chicken.
All right, so I think that our time is starting. So we're just gonna get started with the presentation if that's cool with everybody. So hi, I'm Megan, and this is my brother Matthew.
Hi.
We're brother and sister, and today we are gonna be presenting about the truth about assistive technology from the middle school and high school students' perspective. We are part of LDA STAMP NJ, and we are student leaders. I figure out how to click forward, sorry. Okay. So hi, I'm Megan, and I am a sophomore in high school. Okay. So let me share a little bit about my dyslexia. So I usually read really slowly and most of the time not accurately. I have a really hard time with short-term memorization, so I need extra time to organize my thoughts when writing. I have trouble spelling and often spell phonetically, and I confuse homonyms, which are words that sound the same but are spelled differently. Looking back at these photos, I was in first, second, and third grade. That's when I thought I was dumb before my identification. I thought I was dumb, I had been called lazy, and I was told if I only tried harder. I read significantly below grade level, but when a teacher read to me, I was the first person raising my hand and never struggled with comprehension. Oh my goodness, no. Sorry, technical difficulties. I would score 100% on my spelling test, but couldn't spell the same words 2 weeks later. And I spent hours memorizing my math facts, but couldn't recall them when I needed them. I could not finish a factor sheet for the life of me. So my identification. I was identified with dyslexia the summer before 4th grade. Finally, there was a reason why I struggled so much in school. I was so relieved. My brain was just wired differently, and I just needed to be taught differently than my peers. This was a turning point for me. My journey today. So I learned to read using the Wilson Reading Program, and I was the first person in my school district to finish all 12 Wilson Reading books. I'm passionate about removing the negative stigma associated with learning disabilities and supporting students who learn and think differently. My first presentation was on Capitol Hill during Dyslexia Hill Day in 2017, and I presented on a panel entitled The D Word. I shared my journey and the importance of self-advocacy at numerous national regional conferences, colleges and universities, and school districts. This year, I created the Empower program in my school district that pairs high school mentors with younger students to teach them how to self-advocate, recognize their strengths, build confidence, and just have a support system. So we are actually going to ask you guys a question. So how many people, what is the, excuse me, sorry. So how many people in the United States do you think have dyslexia? So you guys, let me see how many people there are. You can either unmute and just call it out or just put it in the chat. Let's see. The chat is going. All right. Perfect. So I have a couple responses. So you guys are all kind of close.
Yes.
It's about 1 in 5 people have dyslexia.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm Megan's sister as a brother. No, but yeah, I am in 7th grade and I go to a public middle school. I have dyslexia and dysgraphia. I read slowly and not very accurately. I have trouble spelling because when I try to spell, I try and spell words phonetically because that's what makes sense. I need extra time to organize my thoughts. My handwriting, no one can read. I can't even read my handwriting. It's that bad. And it's not just that like my handwriting isn't good, it physically is hard for me to handwrite normally. So it often comes out as sloppy. So my journey begins in 2nd grade. Look how cute I was back then. Where'd the years go? I was identified with dyslexia in 2nd grade. For my experience, I was personally hoping I was dyslexic too, like my sister, because that meant I was a demigod. For you guys who don't know, we were reading Percy Jackson, and all dyslexic people were demigods. It's a whole thing. It's a good series to read. So, pop quiz. Anyone know what the first Percy Jackson title is? Chat, whatever. Okay. Lightning Thief. Okay.
So yeah, the first title is The Lightning Thief.
Yeah. Props to anyone
Let's
who
see if
got
anybody
that.
who knew who it was. Yeah, nice job for
Props
everybody who
to
got
you.
it.
Okay.
That's you, Bucks.
Okay. So the assistive technology dilemma. Is using assistive technology give dyslexic students an unfair advantage to other students?
Hi. Hello. How you
Hello.
doing?
Hi.
That's good. How can I help you?
I'm trying to log into
Okay, which one?
Sorry, guys, we're just going to move on with the presentation. I think somebody's not muted.
Okay, what's happening when you're logging in?
Okay.
What
Students.
is happening when you try to log in?
Hold on one second, guys. I'm going to try and... Oh, I can't mute her. I don't know who it is.
Okay, did you click on the Zoom link?
ATAC3, please mute your mic.
I can't mute her.
Let me give you another link.
We'll just try and continue the presentation as
Sorry.
is.
Did you try going to the schedule again and clicking on it again?
Okay. So students with dyslexia
Okay,
often
I will give
experience greater
you-
success when they use their
Just a second, I
abilities
will
or
give you-
strengths.
Can everybody please mute their lines,
Just make sure in case anyone is unmuted.
please?
I am going to put the schedule in the Zoom link.
For what it's worth, the ATAC3 is the Registration Help Center for the conference. So if you're contacting them for help, please mute your microphone.
You want to go
Thank you so much.
to the one that says Sustained Dyslexia?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you that Zoom link right now.
All right, Matt, just keep going.
Okay, we're just going to continue.
Okay.
Students with
You
dyslexia
copy
often
that link.
experience greater success when they use their strengths.
You're going to have to get out of this section to go
And
to the
For
other section.
for everyone with dyslexia, it's easier to use your strengths and abilities
If
to
you
work
have any
around
problems,
your
we will be
difficulties
right
and
here.
or your challenges.
Okay.
Assistive technology makes
Good
this
luck.
process easier.
All right, so our presentation today is the truth about assistive technology, what we use and how we use it. Presentation. All right. So what we usually have tools for every aspect of school: reading, writing, spelling, and math. So we're going to go through some of the assistive technology we use for each class. Reading. So I can't keep up and read the reading assignments as quickly as my peers. So I use audiobooks and Google Read Write. Most of you probably know what audiobooks are. It's electronic books that'll read it to you. But Google Read Write is a Chrome extension that you can highlight and it'll read text to you. It is other things, but that's what I use it mostly for, is highlighting PDFs and other text that will read it to me aloud.
I wasn't expecting anyone to.
But the truth is, not all.
Yeah, I was like, just having trouble getting into a link.
We're going to pause momentarily to see if we can get the other line muted.
Exactly.
Sorry, guys.
Just give us 1 second, everyone, while we try to get this worked out.
Can the host please mute her line?
Give us 1 second. One more thing, and I will say. Okay, I think
can't do anything because we're not the host.
I think we're good. Just keep continuing.
Sorry. So the truth about this assistive technology is not all assignments are on audiobooks, so that makes it really hard. And when quotes are required, which they usually are in high school and middle school assignments, the audiobooks don't always show the wording or the right page, so I usually have to get a hard copy and the audiobook. So the most important thing during this is extra time is required. It takes us twice as long to get the book, write the quotes, and use the audiobooks. At what speed do you think the average middle school or high schooler reads in words per minute? You guys can just put it in the chat. Sorry.
Wow.
So you guys can still just put it in the chat.
We really had a lot.
All right, so let's see who got it right.
Actually, if you could go back into chat real quick again.
Yeah. Good next. Yeah.
I'm trying to go back up.
There you go.
Next year.
And then just send that person chat. Say please mute.
For sure. This was good.
All right, so the average middle schooler, high schooler reads about 250 to 300 words per minute. So how do audiobooks compare? Audiobooks read at about 150 to 160 words per minute. That's the same rate as an average third grader can read with her eyes.
The ones with the students, it's really interesting too. They're talking about,
which is still faster than I can read, because when I took my last.
Good. Are you ATAC3?
ATAC, yes.
Could you please mute your microphone? You're breaking into the audio on the dyslexia session.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you to whoever did that.
Thank you. So let me just start the slide again. So basically, audiobooks at the faster rate are usually read at 150 to 160 words per minute. This is about the average rate as a third grader can read with her eyes, which is still faster than I can read, but it's compared to my peers. To read at the same amount of time as my peers, I would have to have an auctioneer read it to me, where they usually speak around 250 to 300 words per minute, which is way too fast to listen to.
Okay, so I will cover the assistive technology on writing. My challenge that I have great ideas in my head, but I can't get them down on the paper as fast as they keep coming. So my solution is Google Read and write speech to text. So just make a chat. Any volunteers want to read this? This is some of my writing.
You want us to read it, you said?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so one of you can try and read the text that.
I believe it says, I think it was an earthquake. The water was definitely disturbed or shaken up in picture 2. There is nothing in sight that would call the vibration, maybe, hike about. So I think it was a minor earthquake. The picture also looks like it was taken in a rush because I don't know what the other 2 words are.
Thank you for sharing. It's always a fun activity to have people read my handwriting. You might think that this was maybe like 3rd grade handwriting, all that. This was the last assignment before COVID hit. This is how bad my handwriting is. And I'm actually very surprised. You did very well, so congrats to you.
Thank you. My sister suffers from dyslexia, so I'm used. She has a hard time writing as well.
Awesome. Okay, Google Read and write speech to text. The truth. I need a quiet place to speak. I go into a small room for testing, and that sometimes does not work because the teacher has to sometimes explain things to other kids or answer questions. There's a lot of disruptions. And one of the strategies I have is go into the hallway. That only gives me about maybe a minute of time that I can go before either someone asks me what I'm doing or a teacher walks past or other people make noise. Some of the other things is that nothing's perfect. Even though I love speech to text and Google Read, it always doesn't read the right words or write them. Where I'll say like cause and then it'll say something totally different. So there's extra time that I need just for editing, plus the time that I need to get normally. And even though my teachers and I both hate it, sometimes things must be handwritten. So also for spelling, that is also a big thing, as you can see from my writing. I have a great vocabulary, but I always don't know how to spell my words. As I said before, I like to spell them phonetically, and that is not always the case. So my solution is Grammarly and Siri. Grammarly is just an add-on onto a computer. I'm sure probably one of you use it. Great. Siri, she's good. I have my phone with me. Just say a word and then just spells it correctly. There is a way for Siri to be like, spell this, but I just think it takes too long, and I can't keep up with her writing stuff down. So even though I love both add-ons, and yeah, the truth about it is, even if I think I know how to spell the word, it must be in the ballpark. As long as it's close enough to the word, it will pick it up. But if it's not, then I'm out of luck. It takes extra steps and extra time to find the right spelling of the word. And not all work can be done on the computer, as we said.
All right, so now we're going to get into the assistive technology for math. So I can't always remember how to solve equations correctly. So some of the solutions that I have is I use a calculator on all tests and assessments. But now that I'm in high school, we use calculators almost every day in math anyway, because it just makes it easier. I use Khan Academy, which for some of you who might not know what that is, it's a YouTube channel where the guy goes through how to solve equations and will go through each step and explain it. And then PhotoMath is an app that you can get on your phone or iPad, which you can take a photo of the equation and it'll scan it and tell you how to go through each step, and then it'll show you the solution. But the truth is, once is not enough. For the kid sitting next to me in math class might be able to watch Khan Academy video once and understand it and apply it to the problem that we're using. I have to watch it at least 2 or 3 times to just understand, and then applying it to my equation is a whole new story. Apps can't solve all problems. Like I said, PhotoMath is great and it helps with a lot of equations, but the equations like the actual sentences, the writing problems are the ones that I have most trouble with because it's hardest for me to read. PhotoMath can't read and solve the equation for me, so that makes it really hard. And the biggest thing is there are several ways to solve one equation. So PhotoMath may solve it a different way than Khan Academy, and that's a different way from how I solve it in class. So it's hard to keep up with all of that. So we are all so much more than our dyslexia. How to support your students. Educate yourself so you know how to support your students best with dyslexia. Listen to your students with their needs and concerns. Don't just assume about their learning difference. Be creative and have out-of-the-box thinking. Our best teachers have been out-of-the-box thinkers, and we remember them for their awesome games and competitive spirits that they create in the classroom. And then remember to be patient. Assistive technology isn't learned overnight. So thank you guys so much for listening to our presentation. Sorry for all the technical difficulties, and we're really happy to answer questions. So either raise your hand if you know how to do that through Zoom, or you guys can just call out or type in the chat and then like say out your question. So I'll open the chat and then you guys can just talk. All right, so who had the first question? Darla, you can just unmute and ask your question. That'll be easier for us.
Thanks. I'm curious as to how you guys decide when you're going to handwrite something versus using the technology to do the writing.
So it's not our choice, it's more of the teacher's choice. It's really depending on if it's easier for them to just have a physical test instead of putting it onto the computer for those who need it. So sometimes they'll ask us and see if what we prefer, but the majority of the time it is up to our teachers.
Yeah. You guys can just call out the questions.
Hi, this is Mickey Harkin. I have a couple of questions. Do you use Chromebooks or iPads?
I actually use a MacBook Air that I got for school this year. My brother uses a Chromebook.
We have iPads as well, but we prefer to use Chromebooks over iPads. But we know our way around an iPad if need be.
The Chromes are usually easier because they connect right through our school accounts. At least that's how we had it set up, so you didn't have to like log in and go through the whole task of all of that.
Yes. The other question is, what kind of audio, where are you getting your audiobooks? Are you getting them off of Bookshare, Learning Ally, Audible? How are you getting them?
So usually we use a lot of Learning Ally, but all of those work. I've used all of them. I'm pretty sure Max used them all too. It's whatever you like, mostly. I usually go through, because not all of them are on one of them. Like it might be on Bookshare, but not Learning Ally. So I like to search around to see which ones actually have the book that I need.
Okay, last question, because I see a lot of hands up. Have you ever, I work with a bunch of students and they like to record their lessons so they can listen back. So they tend to be doing it on Notability. Do you guys record your class lessons at all?
We're not allowed to record. It's against our school policy. So we usually get notes ahead of time from teachers, or at least that's on our IEPs, but we're not allowed to record. It's against our school policy, unfortunately. But that we would love to. That would be so helpful.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your help.
Yeah, thank you for coming to our presentation. Let me see if I can see who else is raising their hand. So I think we just answered all of Mickey Harkin's questions. So Casey, you can ask your question now.
Well, first, when your school doesn't allow recording now, do they not allow video or audio recording, just like recording in general, or?
It's recording in general, unfortunately. Last year, my physics teacher allowed us to record, but they totally banned that this year completely at all.
Just out of curiosity, did they give you a reason? I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just curious.
Not really.
I mean, I found it really helpful when they recorded, or when I was able to last year, because I was able to listen to it the first time. I didn't have to try and take notes, because that's another thing that we get in our IEPs is we should get notes beforehand, but not all teachers give it to you. So we feel that recordings would be helpful, but unfortunately they didn't give us a reason and we're not allowed
to. My second question, what device or what app do you guys find the most useful for reading? Like besides, like, if you don't have the audiobook, let's say you have to read a portion in your textbook?
If it's online, I use Google Read Write because it will read it to me if I highlight it personally. You can.
Well, what I will do is that I'll try and find the book ahead of time. And if I can't find it, then I'll try and partner up with somebody who I know can read it and I can like understand it. And it's a preference. Do you want to try reading from like a textbook, or is it just do you want someone to read it to you? And also a great thing with our teachers is sometimes they'll pull us into a small room and they'll read everything to everyone.
Yeah, but it's mostly preference. I found a bunch of kids getting pulled into a small room is a lot easier than having to try and struggle through it yourself. But some kids might enjoy reading it, trying to read it themselves. So it's really whatever your students prefer.
Because I know I am a trade coordinator in the Hudson Valley in New York. And I actually loaned my sister an Oricam. And what it does is it takes a picture of an entire page or a section, and it'll read it aloud to her. And if she's in the middle of class, she has headphones that she puts on, and it'll just read it right through so nobody else hears it. And then also we have Echo pens that I'm trying to get her to utilize as well, which on special paper, you can go back and it can record, but since you can't record, it does other things as well. And it'll go right to the computer as well. It syncs from the pen to the computer.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. We were part of the Yes Ambassadors before this, and we've had a couple people say that they use LiveScribe pen, but
yes, that's the Echo pen, LiveScribe pen. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Personally, we haven't. We weren't old enough, and our school doesn't really provide that. So you'd have to buy it yourself and then get approval from all your different teachers, which just seems like a hassle, and we can't really do it virtually. But those sound like incredible assistive technologies, and I bet they're awesome to use. So
I do know, I'm not sure which state you live in, but each state does have an AT, just like I'm a trade coordinator in New York. Each state does have their own. So you loan it through them and you can test it out in case, so you didn't have to spend the $100 and something on a pen.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. We'll try it out. Do you have any more questions?
Nope, that was all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Jody, you can unmute and ask a question now.
Yeah, I just wanted to get a little more detail from you about what you were saying about when you have to write annotations or quotes from text and you're doing an audible or listening to the book. My sons have struggled with this quite a bit, and I'm just wondering if you have any tips or strategies for keeping up between a physical book for page numbers and the audio.
Well, the thing that we do is that we normally have a physical copy of a book and a audio, because sometimes on some of the recorded things, the pages always don't line up, is something that we found. So we'll go and we'll look through the normal book, and then we'll also have the audio playing to us when we'll follow along with our finger. And that can help for quotes and just for staying like annotations.
My teachers like to call me highlighter happy because I tend to highlight or post-it note everything because I think everything in the book is important. I'm sorry, can you repeat your question? I forgot what I was going to say.
Yes, so it's just about tricks for recording notes from a book when it's hard to follow along, going back and forth between listening and.
So, like Matt said, we found it really helpful to get a physical copy of the book because then you can highlight whatever is important, post-it note it, jot in the margins, whatever your sons, I think it was your sons, think is helpful. It's really finding what's helpful for you. I found post-it noting and highlighting really helpful and just scribbling down in the margins, but they might find, finding like a specific, like typing down like a specific paragraph and page number and like writing like a word or two that might help them. It's really finding whatever they think is helpful, but we found a physical copy of the book, and being able to post note or highlight was really helpful for us.
Thank you, and thank you for this presentation.
Thank you so much for coming. Sorry for all the technical difficulties again. Let's see. Let me see if I can scroll down and see who else has their hand raised.
Also check the chat.
I think that's it. No, let me just check the chat, sorry. And then, oh, chat, please pop up. If not, anybody, you can just call out if you have any more questions. We're more than happy to answer anything. This is our favorite part of the presentation. The chat is not working for me. Oh, there it is. So just click right down in there. I have done 18 recording issues, but usually we okay. Thank you so much, Travis, for that comment. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, we're more than happy to answer. This is definitely our favorite part. We enjoy this way more than the slides.
I have another question. This is Darla.
Oh yeah.
I hear you guys kind of saying over and over again that, you know, it sounds like for different tasks, you have different preferences for how you'd like to get things done. Mm-hmm. But I'm also hearing you say that sometimes you're walking into classrooms where you're not maybe given very many options. I'm curious from your perspective, like what are some things that a classroom teacher can do proactively that would make your time in the classroom setting more accommodable?
Yeah. So a good thing for a teacher to do is to come and ask us. We will, like, depending on the kid, we'll be like talking about like what will help us. But also we have these presentations that we make of ourselves and our like learning style. We send them out before the year starts. So it shows our teachers we're not just IEPs. And we'll go in and I'll tell them how we learn, how is best. And that just like, it helps them like accommodate for us. And then we can always help them with stuff.
Yeah, I think Matt and I were raised that we're very vocal about what we want. And when we need help, we're more than happy to go up to the teacher and ask. Again, that's hard for some kids because self-advocacy doesn't just come naturally. It takes a lot of work, and we've worked really hard to get to the place where we are to be able to just ask our teachers whenever. Like you said, we create presentations at the beginning of the year that say what's in our IEP, but also introduces us and our journey. Like the slides that we showed you were actually from our presentations from this year, a few of our slides. And it introduces us, our learning style, what accommodations we really need. But I usually have meetings with my teachers or ask them, hey, if you have any questions, like please come to me and ask me. I'm more than happy to answer questions. But I have a really good relationship of self-advocating with my teachers. So usually they just come and ask, or I just go up and ask them.
Thank you. That was so helpful. I have one more question, if you guys don't mind.
Go ahead.
Your thoughts. During, in the spring, my school system anyway, we were out from COVID, but we were all doing e-learning. I'm curious from your perspective, if you guys did do, digital learning, how that went for you compared to being in the classroom.
So yeah, in March, March 13th, we actually went digital too.
So we'll each share our perspective, but for me, it depended on the class. Well, for like LA, it would be harder because we were learning grammar. I'm not great with grammar, and they wouldn't always host like Google Meets, and so we wouldn't get the contact and what I really needed. But for, let's say, science, which they did host Google Meets, science was good because I could actually learn, I could ask questions, and I would know that I would get something back.
Like he said, it really depended upon the teacher. My math teacher would host every other day a Zoom call, and he would have us go over the homework, but it was all on you. So our school district, we have a lot more, we're virtual now as well, where it's a lot more defined. You have to come to class, your cameras have to be on, you have to be sitting at a desk or a table. It's very strict now, but last year from March to the end of the school year, it was, kids just kind of, my friend signed off for 3 months and didn't open her computer until later. So it really depended upon the teacher. I had a really great math teacher, again, who sat down, went over homework, all of that. And then I had a really great physics teacher last year also, who would record his lectures so that you could go back and watch them, and then he would go back through. So we didn't struggle because we're very self-oriented and organized, and that's just how we are. And it was a lot. I found it, once you fell into the routine, we never stopped school. Like once we started, we were just back in going. So it really depended upon the teacher, and we thought I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot more regimented now and a lot more like an actual school day. Like we have full hours of school. I do 120 for every period. I don't remember how much you do for each period.
I did like an hour.
So it was a half day last year, but it's really regimented now. So I think that, at least to the people I've talked to, they like it a lot better this year or they don't like it, but they are doing a lot better this year because it's more time on the screen, but it's more like an actual class.
Thank you very much. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Don't be afraid to ask. We've heard everything.
If not, I don't know how much time we have left in the session.
It's 3:30 right
now. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, just call them out. If not, we'll let you go early. Thank you guys so much for coming to our presentation. We hope you learned a lot or a little bit, and thank you so much. We had a great time here.
We'll stay back and answer any questions if it's not for everyone, if it's just personal questions.
I don't know. I don't think you guys have a session after this, so you can just sign off whenever you want to.